Yo guys, welcome back to a brand new video here today and another episode of my F1 2019 career mode. Today we are here for the Belgian Grand Prix and the second half of the season now well underway. If you guys missed the last episode at Hungary, then go watch the video guys by clicking the link in the top right hand corner of your screen. A race in which we took a massive engine penalty. So go watch the video guys and see how we kind of fought back through the field. But today we are here at Belgium at one of my two favourite tracks, which is this one and Suzuka. This one though is Spa-Francorchamps, one of the legendary circuits on F1. And this weekend we have no rain expected and we also don't have any upgrades. Having said that, we are currently saving up points for an upgrade in this episode. And looking elsewhere, we do have Haas currently making the biggest improvements coming into this race as they overtake Williams and they're now the fifth quickest team. Currently, we're losing a little bit of ground to Alpha and Racing Point. And also we have some driver transfers mid-season. Grosjean going to Toro Rosso replacing Albon and Albon going the other way to Haas alongside Norris, I believe. So a pretty young, interesting lineup at that team. But nonetheless, that is it for the news coming into this race, and we now jump into practice. And straight away the car felt good around here. You know, I love Spa, it's one of my favourite tracks, and therefore it's always a pleasure to drive around here. And we did good in practice. That, you know, we hit all of our practice program targets, getting purple in absolutely everything and scoring maximum points. So, you know, good confidence going to qualifying that we could do a good job. It does seem like the Red Bulls, the Alphas and the Racing Points have a bit more pace than us. It seems this track seems to highlight the deficiencies of the Ferrari quite a bit, and we do have an upgrade on the way for the next race, which is, I believe, is an ultimate aerodynamic upgrade for the front wing. But until that arrives, we're going to have to suffer with a bit of understeer and a bit of a lack of pace overall. But in this qualifying session, we are going to go for 3 runs, and my best run was actually my second run after this. My final run was going well, but then we had a couple of problems, which I'll show you guys in a moment. But my first one, you can see here, was doing well, and then we got an invalidation going down through Pouin, and we ran a bit wide mid-corner there, unfortunately for us, so that lap isn't going to count as Kvyat sets the pace in the other Ferrari. We're now going to jump on, though, to our second and best attempt here in qualifying. So, Verstappen currently quickest, we are last in P20, so we need to try and deliver a lap time here, and we're going to try and see what we can do. So, off the final corner, DRS open, making sure we get a nice clean bit of traction, and we did finish our lap before, even though it's invalidated, just to get a reference on the delta so we know what to aim for. Straight away through turn 1, a nice early apex there, and then quickly back on the throttle, finding a nice, almost 2/10 there through turn 1 alone, as we now make our way down the hill towards Eau Rouge and Raidillon. Up the hill, flat out of course, no dramas here, overtake mode all the way through Eau Rouge, Raidillon, and then onto the Kemmel Straight, because the ERS is super efficient on the car now, as we now look for the brake point into Les Combes, braking just before the 50-meter board, down to 4th gear, clip the inside curb and then avoid the curb on the left here, and now quickly bring the car to the left hand side to open up the right hander through Malmedy, down the hill, a little bit of gravel and grass on my tyres there, which is going to cost me a bit of time, and we also ran a bit wide through turn 8 as a consequence of that mistake. Having said that, we are still a 10th and a half, maybe 2/10 up as we go through turn 9, carrying the speed, making our way down the hill towards Pouin, and we're still 2/10 up here as we now go one downshift and then throw the car in, this time not running wide and avoiding the mistake from the last lap, carrying the momentum all the way down the hill as we now make our way into the Fang chicane. Down a couple of gears, trying to carry the momentum through the left, and sorry, through the right and then the left, making sure we don't run too wide on that curb there, otherwise you will get an invalidation. And now through Stablo 1, using all the curb on the left hand side to get the power down, and currently 7/10 down on Verstappen and almost half a second up on our previous best, as we now make our way along the long back straight here, using the overtake mode all the way along this straight, going flat out of course through here, and Blanchimont as well. And you're looking for the 100-meter board as your reference point into the bus stop chicane right about now. You want to try and brake a little bit later than that if possible, and we do a very good job of keeping it nice and tidy through here. Using first gear, we get a little bit of oversteer on the exit, but generally speaking, a nice clean run, and we run up to the line and we go P8, 9/10 off the pace, and we improve by 7/10 into the 138. And our second attempt, or our final attempt, sorry, was actually better. We was up by a little bit here. We was actually up by as much of a 1/10 of a second, but then unfortunately for us, Kvyat retired from the session. There was contact, and we started to get some lag ever since that happened. He crashed with about 2.5 minutes to go, and after that we struggled with some lag issues all the way through, and it was costing me time. Eventually I kept pushing, but the lap time wasn't improving. You can see here we are still a 10th down, so I just thought to myself, you know what, I'm going to save the tyres, because you never know, we might need a set in the race, because we're not going to have any fresh ones, so I may as well save these and keep them as my freshest available compound for the race. And we're going to abandon on that lap, because we are still going to secure 8th place nonetheless. We are quite comfortable, and it's a good performance. The car was working well. Both myself and Kvyat had pretty decent pace. I think, you know, looking at it on the basis of it, we didn't have the pace to challenge the top 6, which is what I said before. The Alphas, the Racing Points and Red Bulls just had a bit too much pace for us here today. So we did a good job of sticking it in 7th and 8th, and that's the best we can do. Hopefully we can try and pull something out of the bag in the race, whether it comes to strategy or, tyres or whatever. But other than that, a pretty decent qualifying session for us, as we pretty much matched Kvyat, and we get 8th place. So yeah, overall a good session here on Saturday, but the race is on Sunday, and that's where the points are scored. So let's jump into it and let's see how we get on in the race for round number 13 and the Belgian Grand Prix.
In the 48 races held at Spa between 1950 and 2015, the race winner has only started from pole position on 16 occasions. Qualifying yesterday may have set the order for today, but expect the unexpected here at the Belgian Grand Prix. As the saying goes, of course, anything can happen. And you know what? It usually does. Spa-Francorchamps today, a circuit that spans 4.35 miles. There are tons of elevation changes along the way too. 19 corners making up this circuit, with 9 of those to the right and the remaining 10 to the left. This track is a great one for fans of pure speed. The average lap speed comes close to a whopping 145 miles an hour. Anthony Davidson is here once again for today's Grand Prix, and we're just discussing the new driver lineup. Let's start by getting your take on Romain Grosjean. They've just moved to Toro Rosso. How do you think they'll get on?
Well, I think this came as something of a surprise to most of us, but it could end up being a bit of a coup for the team. Getting a drive with experience higher up in the field might just be the boost they need, and I'm sure they'll be a big asset as the team continues to develop their car.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he starts from pole position. And it's Pierre Gasly in P2. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Russell, Perez, Sebastian Vettel and Hamilton, Kvyat, Martinez, Sainz and Valtteri Bottas, Leclerc, Magnussen, Alexander Albon and Raikkonen, Giovinazzi, Hülkenberg, Lance Stroll and Romain Grosjean. Ricciardo and Lando Norris starts from the back of the grid. Now it's almost time to lights out, so let's go down to the track.
Right, here we are then on the grid for the Belgian Grand Prix, starting from 8th place here today alongside Danny Kvyat to my right-hand side. And the task is simple, really. Try and go forwards. Like we saw in qualifying, we don't quite have the pace of the top 6. So we can try and finish anywhere above where we are at the minute. That would be a good improvement and a decent result for us. Either way, we're going to get racing here at Spa. Hopefully, it's a decent race. In terms of strategy, we are going to go for the one-stopper with the softs onto the mediums. And hopefully, we don't overheat too much on the soft tyres, which is what I'm worried about. Fuel-wise, we are running one extra lap and there is no rain expected. So let's get into the action and let's see how we get on here for the Belgian Grand Prix. Right, here we go. Let's see if we can try and get a good start here as we get the revs into the sweet spot. 5 lights are on and they are out, and it's a good launch off the line. We get the jump on our racing point briefly as we go on the outside here at turn 1. We've got Sainz on the inside line trying to make a move happen. We're going to try and use the exit straight up the car nice and early. Sainz though just gets the edge on us, so we're going to back off a little bit as Kvyat looks all over the back of Hamilton for a move. Now we're going to try and pass the McLaren of Carlos Sainz. We're going to go to the left-hand side and try and use the slipstream from the cars in front. Well, that's not going to quite work as they'll go to the inside. We are going to get the momentum and the move on Sainz anyway. We're going to go around the outside, and there we go. We retake that position as the leaders scrap away. It looks like we've got an Alpha and the Red Bull side by side. Sainz back down the inside again, though. He's not giving up on this one just yet. He refuses to yield as we have to go around the outside to try and defend the position. But Kvyat again is kind of getting in my way. Myself and Sainz side by side here through turn 9, but Sainz backs out. We put the squeeze on him, and there we go. That pressure's off now. Let's try and keep up with the cars in front, including our teammate who's currently on the back of Lewis still, trying to make a move. I wonder if we can try and challenge some of these heavy hitters here today. Really see if the Ferrari has improved that much or not, but either way, looks like the Red Bull is leading. I'm going to guess that's Max Verstappen, so normal service is resumed. The Red Bull, of course, the much quicker car on the grid in this career mode at the minute, by far the quickest car. But so far so good, 1 lap down. We recovered after an initially poor start, and we're back into our starting position of P8. Sainz is slowly getting on us here in the McLaren behind in the slipstream. I've just dropped back a little bit from my teammate on this lap, which hasn't been ideal. We will stay in front of Sainz for now because we're good on the brakes, but I'm not quite sure we're going to be close enough to our teammate for DRS, which is now going to be enabled on lap number 3.
Race officials have enabled DRS. DRS is now available.
I guess we'll find out. The detection point's coming up, so if we get a good exit here, we should have DRS. I think we've done enough to stay within range, so that will take the pressure off from Sainz behind, I think, as we do manage to just stay within a second. Meanwhile, the battle's kicking off in front. We've got side-by-side action here, so this isn't over just yet. The Red Bull out in front of Verstappen's pulling away, but the battle for second is still well and truly on in this race. Very nice exit there, actually. You can see Kvyat pulls away in the second phase using a higher engine mode, so we're going to turn our engine up to respond. You can see those 3 cars in front are really getting up close and personal with each other. But we are going to get the run here. This is my chance to make a move or two, so let's see if we can at least try and get past our teammate as they go 3 wide in front. I'm going to go to the outside. Try and use the outside space to make a move on Kvyat inside for the next one. Kvyat's still there though, he hangs on, so we're going to leave him the space, switch back underneath, but it doesn't quite work for us. We want to try the outside line. A little bit hot on the brakes there. That's going to allow Sainz to have a look on the inside, and he actually gets past straight away. That was way too easy. Just had so much understeer through there, had literally no front grip at all. So Sainz goes through, so that backfired, and my attempt of an overtake went the other way. I feel like my tyres are overheating, but they're not somehow, so I'm not quite sure why the pace is so poor. My engine is overheating though, it seems. Oh, that's a bit loose. I'm going to try and put a move on Sainz here. He seems to be running a lower engine mode, so I'm going to turn mine up and try and gain on the McLaren here. Try and send one on the brakes. Kvyat goes for a move on the Red Bull. Down the inside of Carlos at the bus stop. We're going to be on the outside through the left-hander, but we are going to carry the speed around the outside and make the overtake, so we've reclaimed that position. As Kvyat scraps away with George Russell, who I believe may have wing damage, which explains the lack of pace because he's in the Red Bull. So let's see. Good exit out of turn 1 though. We're going to be right on Kvyat's gearbox again here. Hopefully we can maybe get the 2-for-1 special and pass both of these guys. That would be perfect. And if not, then hopefully Kvyat passes him. But here we go. We've got the run and the momentum up the hill. Kvyat's going to make his move. There he goes. We're going to use the double toe to go to the outside. We're going to go nice and let the brakes. There's contact. We may be 3 wide actually, and we are 3 wide. Kvyat and Russell still there. We get pushed wide, and I have to back off for now. And Russell somehow managed to hold on after all of that, and we stay the same. We're going to try this move again. Through Eau Rouge. Full power. Full commitment with the engine. DRS, here we go. We're going to go to the inside. We're going to leave space for Kvyat to still go for a move if he needs one, but it looks like he hasn't committed to it. So we are going to take it. Nicely done. Under braking. Up to P6. Double overtake achieved. And we get past Russell and Kvyat. Looks like Sainz is going for a move as well. So this is my chance to pull away and hopefully clear the 1 second DRS gap on those guys. So let's try and put the foot down a little bit and try and open up a bit of gap behind. Good end of the lap. I think Russell may still have DRS, but we've done a good job of opening up a decent gap on him. Personal best 42.4. And we are closing in on the cars in front who are battling. So Sebastian Vettel, Lewis Hamilton and Sergio Perez. Looks like we have got a nice gap to George Russell, so we should be okay and not be under the pressure from him, so we can focus on the cars in front and focus on our own race. Now we've got some clean air. Looks like Kvyat's made the move for P7, which is good for us as a team. Again, if my teammate can follow me as we make our way up, that's good. But the race pace seems to be better with the Ferrari than the 1 lap pace. Definitely seems to be the case that we are more competitive, as has been all season really. On Sundays we seem to have had more pace than the AI, so this is good for us. I'm closing in on Sebastian Vettel here. Looks like Kvyat's pulling away from the cars behind. He has solidified that P7. Meanwhile, these 3 are still scrapping away. They were 3 wide on the Camel Straight, so we are closing in, and we're also approaching the pit stop period, so I'm considering the undercut. We'll see what happens. I'm going to just fall short of DRS, I think. Even though those guys pit, we're not going to get DRS on the car in front. Looks like Verstappen pits as well. And so does Kvyat. So we're going to pit this lap. He was going to pit lap 10, but because Kvyat's opened up the pit box for me 1 lap early, we can box his lap, so that's what we're going to do. So let's try and have a good lap here and try and close in on Hamilton, so we can hopefully have a pit stop battle with him preferably. Pushing hard here. Personal best, middle sector. Just a second behind Lewis, where I think we're a bit too far away to really make a difference in the pit box, but we're doing our best to keep the pressure on. These tyres are still hanging on, to be fair, considering the wear. I could go for a few more, but you know, we want to go on the fresh rubber. There's no point on staying on these. We're going to take a bit more of an unorthodox pit entry. We do make a hash of it by locking up quite heavily. But we're going to try and close in on Lewis as much as we can here. Get it all slowed down, and there we go. That's the best I could do. So here we go then. On to medium tyres. We need a quick stop from the boys. Come on, crucial.
Release.
Perfect, 2 seconds dead on, and we get out ahead of the cars behind. And we have got a little bit closer to Lewis as well, which is good. I wonder if we can get a good exit, maybe get the run up the hill, but there's a bit of traffic here. Let's see where we rejoin.
That was our last stop. No more scheduled pit stops.
Full power, we're racing Perez here. He gives us the pinch, but Perez just in front of us. Lewis gets the clean air. But if we can get past Perez here, that'd be fantastic. So full power on pit exit, giving it absolutely everything. We're going to get past the Mercedes as well, 2 for 1. Perez to the right, we're going to try and squeeze through, make it 3 wide. Down the inside. Oh, that's close. Perez hot on the brakes. We're going to at least try and get past Kimi and dispatch of him. But that was dangerous. We almost lost the wing there. Perez almost ran straight to the back of his own teammate. So we didn't quite get past Sergio Perez there, but we're in the money though, which is good. We're still here. Looking at the minimap, looks like we have jumped Sebastian Vettel. He's actually just in front of Kvyat. You can see behind Raikkonen on the minimap there. That's the current gap, and Kvyat is gaining on Vettel. So this has worked out beautifully for us as a team. As I'm now challenging the Force Indies, and this battle right here between us and the Racing Point is actually for the podium. So important for us to try and stay in this battle and try and make something happen. And there we go, P5 for us, so we are confirmed to be battling for the final podium spot. So let's try and stay close to these guys. It does feel like they've got a little bit more pace than me at the moment with the fresher tyres, but hopefully we can try something later on. Meanwhile, Kvyat is right on the back of Vettel and is probably going to make a movement in this lap, which is good to see. Racing Point side by side. This could end badly. This is my chance to really close in on these two. As they still go side by side into turn 8. Look at this, Perez trying all the way around the outside of his teammate, and he's actually going to almost pull it off. Will he get it through turn 9? Not quite, they're still side by side, but it looks like, oh my god, it's still going to continue into pull-on. This is going to be risky. Perez just gets in front though, and makes the move on Lewis, and takes 3rd place. We're just hanging in here, we're waiting for the right time to strike. Lewis, Perez, oh my god, there's contact. Perez runs wide, and there we go, there's the opening. The 2 Racing Points come together, and we're now up to P4. I wonder if Lewis got any wing damage in that by going into the back of Perez there maybe. As we pick up a warning for track limits, we're going to try and use this as our opportunity to make a pass on Lewis for 3rd place. Can we do it? Let's find out. The Racing Point is the fastest car in the entire game on the straights. We're going to give it everything. We're going to use up the last bit of our fuel as well. Gaining on Lewis here. Into the bus stop. Down the inside. It's a late one. We bonk tyres, but we're just about okay. We're going to go around the outside and get the DRS. There we go. That will keep us in front of Lewis. Luckily I've got no wing damage, so that's okay. Into turn 1 though, now I'm going to be on the back foot massively because I'm going to have 2 Racing Points with DRS on me here, so this is going to be interesting. Let's see how long we can defend from here. Gasly currently in a very solid P2 for Alpha, but we're going to have to defend now from both of these guys along this Hemel Straight. This is the thing with Spa, the DRS and the slipstream is so strong. It's so hard to defend, but here comes Lewis Hamilton. He's going to go to the left-hand side. Can we hang on until the brake zone and try and match him on the brakes? We're going to hang it on the inside. Oh, that's close, but we just hang on. We almost touch tyres, but we just avoid the contact. I'm severely out of shape, but we managed to stay in front. Can I try and pull away from this middle sector and try and use a Ferrari's downforce to drop the Racing Point maybe? I guess we'll find out, but I'm going to try and turn the engine up here through this sector and give it some, try and race away from Lewis. Kvyat is really on a mission as well. He's really catching up. The Ferrari again just showing that it has the race pace as we pick up another track extension. So I'm on my final warning now, so I need to be careful with that. Completely messed that up. I keep getting turn 1 wrong every single lap. We have had a good exit though, so that's going to give us some momentum going up through a Rouge, but I think Lewis is more than close enough to get another run on us here, so we're going to have to defend. Meanwhile, Kvyat is right on the back of Perez here, so at least we're defending from 1 Racing Point. Hamilton isn't close enough, I don't think, so we're going to keep the engine in standard. He's going to go to the outside, but we can defend that, that's okay. Bottas out of the session in the McLaren. First retirement, will there be a VS0 safety car? Seems like there won't be. Going to try and save a little bit of fuel while I'm in this section. Looks like Kvyat has got the move on Perez though, so again, Ferrari showing race pace. Personal best, good pace from us, but Hamilton's still hanging in there. With the slipstream and the DRS, it's so hard to drop somebody. That's why when you make the overtake, it has to be definitive around here. I'm having to use up all my reserves for fuel in the RS, but this time we are actually doing okay. We are quite a bit ahead of Lewis, so I don't think we'll come under too much pressure. And instead, I think he might have to contend with some pressure from Kvyat possibly. What a middle sector from us. That was absolutely perfect, right on the money. 9/10 clear of Lewis, and now Kvyat's really close, so we might get a chance here to clear the DRS barrier, and Lewis might have to worry about Kvyat. So suddenly, we've gone from 7 and 8 on the grid to 3rd and 4th hopefully for Ferrari, as Kvyat is putting a move on Lewis. A bit hot into the bus stop there, that's not ideal for us, but we are going to try and get around that. Kvyat and Lewis side by side, which is good for us, as we set another personal best into the 141s. And that's about as good as it's going to get for me in terms of pace, but that was a good lap, using up most of my reserves. But it does mean that we clear Lewis, and we're now out of his DRS, which is good. So we can now focus on securing the 3rd place. Pace is good. At the minute, we're just hanging in there. We're keeping a nice gap to Kvyat, who, speaking of which, is actually pulling away from Lewis, who has now been caught up by Sebastian. So it's looking like we could potentially solidify this 3rd and 4th place if things go as they are right now. Oh, yellow flag. And it's Sebastian Vettel behind us. Luckily, it's not Danny Kvyat, who retired in the last race in a good position, but this time it's Sebastian Vettel in the Alfa Romeo. I wonder if there'll be a safety car or a VSC from that. There we go, confirmation, Sebastian's out. Looks like there isn't going to be anything, as Kvyat is now well and truly battling with Lewis here, so he's going to lose a lot of time. Hopefully Kvyat can win the battle though. They are seem to be picking up their pace at the minute. Verstappen's doing purple laps every single lap. And Kvyat is 1.1 behind, so we could be under pressure here. Hopefully Kvyat has cleared Lewis, and Lewis doesn't hang on by a DRS, because otherwise we could be in trouble. But I need to find some more pace here. Even though I'm running at pretty much a max out pace, it seems like Kvyat has more speed than me at the minute. And he's probably going to be within DRS this lap, but he won't be close enough to pass me just yet. Kvyat genuinely seems to be very quick at the minute, so I may not hold him up if he does go for a move, because at the minute, as a team, we need every point we can get. So I'm going to let Kvyat take this one. I'm not even going to fight it. I'm going to let him go, because also we can't afford to lose any time to Lewis, who's behind us. So I'll let Kvyat take the lead on this one, and I'll just use his DRS to follow him. And that's not what we needed. That was the last thing we really needed as a team, was for him to lock up there. That was the worst thing that could have happened now, because now Lewis is back in it. Literally, when I ask for one thing from my teammate, it's just to not make any mistakes and make a clean pass. I give him the entire racing line, and even then they can't make it stick. That really frustrates me, because now Lewis is on my gearbox, and this is what I didn't want, because I've got no reserves left to fight with. So we're going to have to re-overtake Kvyat if we need to here, because Lewis is really pushing hard. I'm going to have to defend the inside. There we go, nicely defended. Let's try and stay with Kvyat here and try and stay within DRS range if we can. George Russell's catching up behind as well in the Red Bull. So this is never yet. Lewis is right on my gearbox here. This is going to be so difficult. I've got no reserves when it comes to fuel. Lewis to the outside. I've managed to stay within my teammate's DRS, which is absolutely crucial for trying to keep this racing point behind. But we're not going to have DRS any longer after this one. So it's all down to me and how I use my ERS. Unless I get a perfect turn one and somehow manage to still cling on to Kvyat's DRS somehow. I don't think we are though, I think we're too far back now. We need a miracle to have DRS still at this point. Good thing for us, Hamilton hasn't had a great exit, so with 1.5 laps to go, we should be okay on this lap at least, try and stay in front of him. Personal best, onto the last lap of the Grand Prix. Let's make sure our turn one's perfect. And it is, right on the money, that's what we want. And we just got to keep it nice and tidy. Now we can turn the engine up, use the extra fuel. Hamilton's closer than last lap, but not close enough, I don't think. We should be okay, I think. Bar an absolute rocket ship of an overtake from Lewis in the racing point. And there we go. He's gradually gaining, but he's not close enough, so we're going to hold on to this. Ooh, that's not good. Those lockups are not what we need. We've got through the camel straight, so we should be okay now, I think. Here we go. Personal best middle sector. Verstappen wins for the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. He absolutely dominated. Here comes Lewis. He's close. Going into Blanchet. He's going to be right on my gearbox. Going to use the last bit of fuel that I have to try and keep him behind. Double front lock up under braking, but that's okay. We keep it under control. And there we go. Kvyat will wrap up the podium with Gasly in second. And we'll come home for a well-deserved 4th place. And we'll take that. That is a great result for us as a team.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
It was a magnificent race and a drive right out of the top draw to take the win for Red Bull today. What do you think it was, Ant, that gave them the edge over the competition today?
Well, I know it's a bit of a boring answer, but the truth is they simply had the best speed package on the day, and a driver who knows how to take advantage of that. It doesn't matter how much time you spend poring over the stats and planning strategies if you can't keep the pace, and our winner today showed they could do both.
Here come today's winners. The team at Red Bull have done a phenomenal job recently. It's clear to see that they've put in the work and they should be proud of the victory they secured here.
Right, so here we have the final results then for the race here today at Belgium. Max Verstappen dominates the Belgian Grand Prix and picks up the extra point for the fastest lap with 1 minute 40.4. He was so much quicker than anybody else. Pierre Gasly P2 in the Alfa Romeo. Danny Kvyat P3, and actually he got a 140.9, so strong pace from Kvyat, and again proving the Ferrari was really strong on race pace, but just 1 lap pace not quite there. We come home in 4th, just outside the podium, but I'll take that. That's a strong double finish for us as a team, and we need those points. Hamilton P5, Russell P6. Then we've got Sainz, Leclerc, Perez and Norris rounding out the top 10 and the point scorers here today. Missing out on the points we have Ricciardo, Hülkenberg, Albon, Giovinazzi, Raikkonen, Grosjean, Magnussen and Stroll, with Sebastian Vettel and Valtteri Bottas the only 2 retirements of the Grand Prix here today. In terms of the standings though, after that race, it is going to mean that with that double points finish, we are still 1 point ahead of Kvyat. Kvyat overtakes Leclerc for P8. But we are closing in slowly on Lewis Hamilton, and then hopefully we'll close in slowly on Gasly and Vettel as well. But we're making good progress, and there's still a lot of races to go in this season, and we can still make a lot of recovery if we need to. And I think all the way up to Russell, it is still possible for us to challenge for 2nd place. In terms of the constructors though, if we scroll over, you can see we're currently in 4th place, and we're now less than 100 points behind Racing Point, so we are catching up. I mean, to be fair, we're about 100 points off Alfa Romeo as well, so it is still up for grabs, and we just got to keep improving. And by improving, we do have a ultimate aerodynamic upgrade for the car on the front end at the next race in Monza, and we're going to add to that right now by jumping into the laptop. So let's do that, and let's try and find some more upgrades for this car and try and continue our push up towards the top of the table.
You were cutting your way through the field during the race. So talk us through what happened between you and your rival today. Do you think you were lucky not to end your race with that crash? Great. Well, that's everything.
Okay, so here we are then on the laptop, and as you can see on the screen, we currently have a ultimate upgrade for the aerodynamics scheduled for the next race at Italy, which is going to massively halve the gap to the top 3 teams, and we're going to add to that today because we have 2,800 points. So straight away, we are going to invest in the final aerodynamic upgrade, which will hopefully max out the Ferrari, and that will arrive at the Russian Grand Prix. And we still have enough points to add even more, so we are going to add a major upgrade for the brakes on the chassis, and this is going to max out the chassis department, and you can see we're quite a way off Red Bull, and even then we've maxed out. This is the best we can do, so we've done our best. We've still got more points, so we're going to add some more. This one's going to be for the fuel consumption for the next race at Monza, so we're going to do that as well to improve fuel efficiency. And there we go. So an upgrade in each department, and we've got pretty much upgrades for the next 3 races. We've actually got, in theory, 2 for the next race, and then 1 for the race after at Singapore as my Siri goes off, and then we have 1 more for the race after that at Russia. But guys, that is going to be it for this video here today. If you guys enjoyed it, then drop a like on the video and subscribe if you are new for daily Formula 1 content, and also turn on notifications so don't miss any videos from me. Also, finally guys, check out these 2 videos on your screen if you have missed them. But other than that guys, thank you for watching, and I'll see you on my next episode very soon. But until then, it's goodbye from me.